All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we are set and ready to go, allegedly, sorry, I apologize, all right, now that we are set and ready to go, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the land of the rising sun for none other than the CCRL Wednesday tier. This is round number 2 of this 8th season, and we are none other at the Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan for what should be a fantastic round of racing tonight. So happy to be back. Number one, it's been quite a while since I've been in the commentary box of any sort. Over the summer months so far, I've been doing a lot of broadcast production within the Toronto Blue Jays organization. That's been a fun period of time. We're on the All-Star break today, and after tomorrow as well. So I got a couple of days, and I'm going to be so happy to join you for this one. We're on board with Johnny Damon for the time being, making his way in towards 130R. Let me get my track map open and whatnot. Definitely been a good while since I've kind of been around commentating these F1 games, but from what I can tell you is this: I had my first one over this new game just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it was last week. And goodness me, this has looked to be a phenomenal game so far on behalf of the actual racing quality that we have seen. Johnny Damon fourth for the time being at a 129.608. I'm just going to switch that to the leader. So, 0.4 of a second off for Johnny Damon for the time being. Coming around the line next, we have what looks to be the Williams of Osmanian Devil, making his way around, I believe, about to start a timed lap himself. Let's see what he's got as he'll make his way down the pit straight here. I tell you what, it's not exactly the longest run to this first corner, but with how wide this first corner actually is, first two corners, technically, it does seem like a longer run than it actually is. You get a lot of play with DRS when it comes to race time. So for what it's worth for these fellas, it's a very high downforce circuit, this naturally, but as well, you want to make sure that you're not pumping too much wing into it, and you get that situation where the car's got too much downforce and you sacrifice the straight line speed on a track where realistically the only place to overtake is with DRS. So it's kind of a tricky balance to be able to find. Osmanian Devil making his way into the hairpin now. He'll take a more shallow line on the way through. Won't carry a lot of speed on the way out. That's slightly worrying. It appears we have the Haas of... It is Jabor. Always. Apparently has lost the car coming out of the second Degner. That's not gone too well for him, unfortunately. That front wing is definitely missing. I say lucky for him. The car has not totally been, and he'll be able to get that back to the pit lane and get an actual timed lap on the board, but it's not going to happen now, unfortunately for him. Osmanian Devil making his way to 130R for the time being, totally flat. Without even a shadow of a doubt, totally flat. On the brakes right before the 100-meter board, in early to the chicane. Try to make it clean on the way through. Take too much curb, the car gets unsettled. You can't get on throttle quick enough. Not take enough, and it's not a good line through. Exiting the corner, across the line. Only 9th. I don't know. Did he have a hiccup on that lap that I didn't see? It's possible. I tell you what, he was looking slightly slow through the chicane, so it might be possible that was slightly an off lap. Is that Sirazal? Sirazal? We'll stick with Sirazal, and if that's not right, he can correct me after. Truth be told, that's the first I've ever seen of his name. Sirazal on a time, actually not on a time lap now, but he's only half a second away. I tell you what, the top 7, within a half a second of the top spot, which is curveball in the Ferrari for the time being. Charlie Golf, actually, that's a great time from him, being less than a 10th off. Cam Tizzle's right up there as well. Cam Tizzle appears to be on a hot lap for the time being, so we'll keep along with him. Making his way now through the back end of the spoon curve. And then back on the throttle, down the back straight, heading towards 130R. Johnny Damon, 128.242. 0.4 of a second better than that time at curveball, which we initially thought was pretty good. Cam Tizzle was better in Sector 2 by 0.06 of a second. He actually was on the brakes a little bit later there than as we saw from the Williams of Osmanian Devil. Back on the throttle, he's handled that really nicely. Such a smooth transition that he did have. He has... unfortunately blown through his deployment. He's actually going to end that lap 0.3 of a second slower. So maybe has he lost time somewhere that we didn't see. Now, what I can tell you is the front wing is not on that Williams. a little bit of a glitch I've noticed. A couple of times now I've seen things with like this where the front wing just kind of refuses to show up. That's all right. Looks like we got an Aston Martin slow through the back end of the spoon. John the Prince looks to be on low fuel, so he'll have to limp that one back home. Got the pair of the V-Carbs making their way around now. It looks like King Pro Player might be setting up, or at least did have a tow set up there by Merck. Merck is beginning a time lap now, so I've got a bug on the face of my glasses for the time being. A little bit of a fly, and we're back to business. Merck exits the second corner quite smoothly into the first part of the S's. Now, what's interesting is you could take that first section of the S relatively flat. He's not done that. He's actually sacrificed, I think, a little bit of time on the way in. The rest of it looks really smooth. Next up the hill through Dunlop, and this is always a tricky one here. You can easily lose the car going up the hill through the turn-in phase of the corner. And then even worse, at 4 seconds quicker, goodness me. Even more scary is when you go off the top of that, spin that car around. That's a blind corner to everyone else. There is no guarantee you're going to make it out of that one safely. As Merck, a little bit of struggle there getting on throttle out of the hairpin. Took the first Degner pretty well. Did clip the gravel, exiting the second Degner underneath the bridge. I think that's hurt his time a little bit. Making his way into the spoon curve now. No complaints through here. Maybe could have carried a little bit more speed through the second phase of the corner. Could be wrong. Well, he's definitely on an improvement here. I'm thinking at least a top 10 for Merck. He has, however, used the entirety of his deployment. Into the chicane he goes. He's taking it slightly early there, and again, he's taking a lot of curb. That car's going to get slightly unsettled. Yeah, I think he could have maybe taken that chicane a little bit better, but across the line, he does go 8th, 129.418. Improves by a hell of a lot there. He's 1.1 off the pace of Johnny Damon, but I think he's in a at the very least, is a competitive time range here with the drivers around him, so I think that could definitely be one to look out for. We've got the Sauber of Fragley coming around the 130R corner now. He's got relatively clear track ahead of him. Doesn't have to worry about anyone save for the V-Carb of Merck, who's already done with his timed lap, and he's sorry, no, that's the one of the King Pro Player that's just entered the pit lane. Down the pit straight he goes, making his way into these first couple of corners. Let's see how he takes it. Now that's kind of more of what I expected to see. You know, in the previous games, you'd have to brake for that first section. Pretty much now, similar to what Jack Doohan thought he could do. You could really take that flat into the beginning of, or I wouldn't even say the beginning of the second phase of that corner. You really have to, as soon as you kind of recognize that the first corner is coming to an end, you got to kind of start to get on the brakes there. Give yourself enough of a braking zone as you can. But he's done super well. 0.2 of a second quicker, 2.5 of a second quicker actually through the first sector. Takes Degner 1 well. Degner 2 was a little choppy, but no complaints otherwise. Touches the grass slightly on the way into the hairpin. Takes a real low line around the hairpin. Good way to get on throttle on the way out, making his way through 200R now. Now, let's see how he chooses to handle the spoon curve. Yeah, not too bad. Car looked slightly out of shape there, getting under braking. And it's a difficult corner as well, because the braking zone is not straightforward. You really have to, as he's 3.5 of a second quicker through Sector 2 as well. This could be a pole lap here for Fragley, 5 minutes 20 remaining. You kind of have to take that spoon curve at an angle, that first braking zone, and then it's kind of like brake, off throttle, back on throttle, back to braking, back to coasting on the way out. He has gone second, 128.548. That is a great lap there from the Sauber of Fragley. It's a difficult corner to take. I think he can maybe find another couple of hundreds through the spoon curve, if I say so myself, but otherwise that's a pretty flawless lap. We do have what appears to be slightly a backup there at the hairpin. I think potentially Charlie Gulf was either getting out of the way or I think was trying to get out of the way, as it seems the only car really hustling here. Well, none of them. We got the Aston Martin, both Red Bulls, and a Sauber. I'm not going to say a bit of a backup here, but this is not a good situation for these cars involved. You do not want traffic ahead of or behind you when you're on a qualifying run of this lap, as we have one of the Red Bulls actually going around. I think that's Agnote. Yes, he has. Thankfully for him, he's not hit anything. But yeah, you want to avoid traffic as much as you can, considering, I mean, there's so many places on this track where a car could go around, and find yourself into some trouble. That's definitely something that you got to be wary of. A car goes off in front of you, naturally, the instinct in you is that you're going to react, and that's going to take away your time. Down into the first corner is Charlie Golf. Looking all right for the time being. Yeah, pretty clean there. 4.5 tenths of a second off of Johnny Damon's pole time with just under 4 minutes to go. Got the McLaren of Sepulveda, looks to have gone around through the spoon curve, probably just trying to... I don't know if he's gone round or is just going slowly. Now, this is what I'm worried about here, because I think Charlie Golf has really had to compromise his line through that first Degner to be able to get around whatever Ferrari that was. That's not curveball, that's hemp head. That car was not well placed at all, at least for the sake of what Charlie Golf needed to do. Because ideally with that first Degner, you want to cut off as much as that inside curve as you possibly can while keeping it safe and, maybe taking 2 downshifts through the corner and then quick back on it after that. And I'm wondering if Charlie Golf had to go a little bit wide there to avoid the Ferrari, at least, not even on purpose, just like kind of instinctually having to take that a little bit wider. He's a 10.5 quicker through Sector 2, so not bad, but I'm not sure this is exactly going to be the one to look out for here. A little bit late on the brakes heading into the hairpin, a little bit of play on the back end. Way over the curve of the second phase. I tell you what, I'm a little surprised he didn't invalidate track limits there, but DRS activated and across the line. He'll go second, 128.372. He's improved by 1/3 of a second there. That's a great lap from Charlie Golf. Problem is, though, unless he's got 2 laps worth of fuel on the car, that is not going to be able to get back around in time and to be able to put another one on the board, I'm afraid. Curveball and a timer here. Going through the S's. Two-tenths of a second quicker through Sector 1. Pretty good through the Degners there. Maybe could have gone a little bit wider through Degner 2. Could have given himself a little bit more speed, but safety is a good call. Exits the hairpin well enough, back on the throttle. Towards the spoon curve he goes. He may even pick up a little bit of a toe here from the Aston ahead of him. A little bit of slippage in the back end under braking on the way into the spoon. Exits nicely, put the power down well early. That was a great exit. McLaren off up ahead. Won't get in his way. 4/10 of a second quicker through Sector 2. Phenomenal lap going for curveball, but I think he might run out of energy store by the end of the lap. That's going to be slightly difficult for him. He cannot run out of deployment before the end of the lap. He will lose time around the final corner. This is looking good here for curveball. DRS activated and across the line. He's going to finish 6/100th of a second shy of Johnny Damon's pole time. Very good lap there from curveball. I'm afraid he has ended just shy of what could have been a even better lap for the Ferrari. Next up, it looks as if the Aston Martin of Charlie Golf is going to give this one another go. I was curious to see if he had 2 loads of fuel on board. It appears that he does. Not. Okay, never mind. Fragly on an outlap. Now we got a whole mess of cars making their way through the S's. This is going to be a very traffic-heavy final qualifying attempt. It's going to be slightly difficult here, I think, for realistically anyone involved, as Charlie Golf has called this one. Now, Johnny Damon. I'm not going to say he's safe. Curveball's within enough of his time. Fragly, I think if he gets down a good lap, could also be really on it. We're going to see what the Haas of Johnny Damon has to offer. DRS activated. Down the pit straight he goes. 15 seconds left on the clock, I believe. A lot of these cars are not going to get back round in time. Fragly, it's going to be close for him. Serzal, that one could be close as well. King Pro Player. Which car is coming around the line? That is not King Pro. Oh, and the time expires. Neither of the Saubers will get to put down a better attempt, nor will the V-Carb of King Pro Player. Both McLarens, I think, are on flyers here. They're definitely not on outlaps. Johnny Damon is a 10th better through Sector 1. Not bad. The Williams of Cam Tizzle has gone 4th. Only about 3/100ths shy of the Aston of Charlie Golf's 3rd place time. Not bad for him. The Williams of Osmanian Devil coming around the line now. He has improved to 13th, none more. Red Bull of Agnote into the pit lane. So unless Merck has something or Jabor, Johnny Damon is going to walk away with pole, and I don't believe That's it's going to be it for Merck. He is slower, apparently, through Sector 1. Jabor as well. Well, he's actually looking quite quick here. 6/10 of a second better, did that say, through Sector 2. Coming across the line now, Jabor. Oh, he did improve by 6/10, but incredibly enough, only 9th. So that is going to be your grid. Johnny Damon on pole. Curveball got really close within a blink of an eye, 6/100th of a second, as Johnny Damon was not actually quicker on that final attempt. And Merck, I don't believe, is going to be quicker here. Damon on pole, Curveball, Gulf, Tizzle, Fragley, Sepulveda, John the Prince, Merck, Jabor, and Sirzal the top 10. Hemphead, Asian Kid, Osmanian... I'm going to laugh at that one. Osmanian Devil, Owog, King Pro, and Onyote. That is going to be your starting order for the Japanese Grand Prix. I tell you what, Johnny Damon put in a good time, but if I'm Damon right here, you got to think about this. Your car is going to be positioned on the outside of the grid heading into turn 1. Curveball, if he gets a good launch, he's going to be right there. Johnny Damon is going to have to work for this one. And for what it's worth as well, got a very competitive top 10. Oh, no, don't do that to me. Don't do this nonsense to me, not now. Hang on, we're attempting to fix things. Of course, naturally. I don't even think formation lap is, like, on in this league. We might genuinely be ucked here, gentlemen. Joining session. Failed to join the session. Fantastic. Let's try again. That's the good thing. Oh, public service announcement for all the lobby hosts that I have. Please invite me via the PlayStation invites. Because if you invite me via the game, if you don't accept it in time or you refresh, or say it fails to join the lobby, the invite disappears and you have to manually do that again. I've had the same invite from Johnny Damon since when I loaded into the session. I've been able to use it twice now to be able to get back into the initial game. So, if you're a lobby host and you're listening to this, thank you, Johnny. I'm already on the way back in. Appreciate that. If you're a lobby host listening to this, please invite me via PlayStation to your lobbies. It's just so much easier. And what I will say is this. Very gloomy looking day here. I don't know if we've been flagged for any weather from the powers that be. Look and see if anybody's... well, listen to this. So, got some beef already going in the Discord. Charlie Golf is not happy with Hemphead in regards to potentially blocking on the qualifying lap. Now, was that what I was seeing with the Ferrari on the inside of Degner 1? Remember, we were watching, I believe it was Charlie Golf going through the Degners, and I said how that Ferrari looked as if it was kind of in the way. Formation lap is on from Johnny Damon. I'll ask out loud if there's any weather on the way. Anyway, while we have a minute here, let's take a look at the schedule for this 8th season. No weather from Johnny Damon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Chief Weatherman. What a good season it looks like we've got for you. Let's have a look at the calendar. Up next, we've got Miami, round 3. I tell you what, for what it's worth, I have commentated some good races in Miami. It's not one of those... It's one of those tracks where real life gives us absolute stinkers, and then in the virtual world like this, we actually get some damn good races there. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Saudi Arabia for round 4. Now that's quite that. I hope I'm around for that one. Then we go to Barcelona for round 5, the Red Bull Ring for round 6, and not only the Red Bull Ring, the reverse Red Bull Ring, which I am so excited for. Tomorrow, I actually get to cast a race at Reverse Silverstone, and God almighty, am I excited for that one. I am so ready. Speaking of Silverstone, that's round 7 at August 20th. Round number 7 in the United Kingdom. Round 8, we head to the Baku City Street Circuit in Azerbaijan. Hungary, the Hungaro Ring for round 9. Reverse Zandvoort for round 10 on September 10th. That's going to be fantastic. I think genuinely that run into that first corner, backwards from Ari Leyendijk, it's going to be like a NASCAR corner going that left-hander, 30 degrees of banking. It's going to be fantastic. Singapore, the penultimate round of the season, September 17th, and then finally, final round of the season, Brazil on September 24th. That's a good-looking season in Brazil, too. Brazil to end off a season is absolutely fantastic. Let's put it to you that way as well. Here's a look at the tire strategy for this evening. Looks like the majority of the grid has absolutely gone on the medium tires as probably expected. 4 of which, count them 4, have chosen a different compound. Charlie Golf, Curveball, and King Pro Player have all gone hard. Hemphead and the Asian Kid have gone soft. Sorry, was that the Asian Kid? That might be not. I apologize for that. Anyway, okay, in my defense, that's a gamer tag that's never going to be avoided, saying things like that. I apologize. So, now here's what was interesting to me, okay? Think about Curveball. Remember what I said at the end of the qualifying session? He's going to be on the inside going into turn number 1, okay? He has chosen a harder compounded tire than that of his counterpart of Johnny Damon. Why has he not chosen the mediums here? Strategically, probably a better decision. For now, on a track where overtaking is not guaranteed unless you have DRS, this was a mistake, I think, from Curveball. I think he is going to absolutely be cleared by Johnny Damon on the way to the first corner. I am not a fan of that move at all. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there with Curveball. That is not a decision I enjoy from him. But I could be wrong. Listen, I like being wrong. I learn more from being wrong. And I hope I'm wrong about this. Hemphead and Asian Kid have gone to the softs. I think probably looking out for the early safety car. That'd be a hell of a long time to go on the hards, but it's possible. And I tell you what, safety cars, always possible at this circuit. So many places to make errors, so many places to go off, so many opportunities for congested conundrums, really. Early days in the season here, in the land of the rising sun. But will it as well be the land of the setting opportunities? That was terrible. I apologize. I've tried way too hard to be clever. Johnny Damon on the outside, entering the first corner. Curveball on the inside on the hards. Charlie Golf will have the the hards in behind. Cam Tizzle, I think, might be a player off this start very much legitimately. Here we go then. Lights about to turn on here from the Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan. Here we go. Lights turning on. 27 laps on the way from the land of the rising sun. It's lights out and away we go. Johnny Damon admittedly gets away better. Little bit of wheel spin there. Charlie Golf immediately around. Cam Tizzle plays in as well. And as we expected, Curveball down to 5th off the start. We got somebody way off at the back. I think that's Osmanian Devil in the gravel off behind. He's going to rejoin the back of the grid. The Sauber of Fragley has taken Curveball to the inside. He's up to 4th. Johnny Damon already has 7/10 of a second of the cars behind him. Cam Tizzle, I think, has had a good start. He didn't necessarily play the impact that I thought he was going to. And as they make their way up through the Dunlop corner, Johnny Damon has got a hell of a long lead already. The game actually wants you to take 2 stops here. 10 to 12 for softs, 18 to 20 for softs. As Curveball in front. Oh, we got a hell of a backup here. I don't know what's happened with Fragley. That car must have gone off exiting Degner 2 and then came back in the circuit in kind of a weird way because we had a big stack up behind the Sauber of Fragley. And actually, for what it's worth, that's going to allow John the Prince and Surzal into the mix as well. Side by side, Fragley and Merck into the spoon. Has the Sauber cleared him? Yes, he has. Only just. That was slightly sketchy there. And again, I'm not rightly sure why the kind of the delay or hesitation from Fragley exiting Degner 2 under the bridge. That one could have been preposterously bad, and it wasn't, thankfully. Bit of a slipstream train going through 130R. Here's the other side of the strategy. 9 to 12 is the suggested stop. And then for softs again, that's a little bold. The game really doesn't want these cars to use the hards. And as we got a bit of a mix-up going over the chicane here, we got Osmanian Devil and Sepulveda. And Sepulveda is actually missing a lot of the front wing on the left side. Something has gone wrong for that McLaren. As the first lap ends here, Johnny Damon has maintained the lead. Charlie Golf and Cam Tizzle both up 1. Curveball has lost 2. Remember, he took the hards off the start, starting in 2nd. Fragley looks to have been demoted back to 5th after whatever issues he had. Merck is +2. John the Prince has stayed in 7th. Serzol to 8th. Hemp to 9th, +2. And Jabor rounds out the top 10, 1 down. And speaking of Hemphead, that car was in the grass off of Dunlop. We were talking about that in the qualifying session. Such an easy part of the track to, make a mistake in and lose not only lap time, but lose a lot of your sanity as well. One mistake like that could snowball into several others. John the Prince to the inside of Merck. He's not going to be able to tuck the nose in underneath. But a good look there, nonetheless, exiting the hairpin. Into the spoon curve now. Cam Tizzle doesn't appear to be within reach of Charlie Golf, but what I will say, Johnny Damon's got a hell of a big gap already to the Aston Martin behind him in 2nd, so Cam Tizzle's going to get a solid opportunity here with DRS as side-by-side. And there's the Haas off at the back. Jabor has gone around, and I think it's incredibly lucky that car hasn't totally binned into the barriers on the inside. The front wing is missing, and we've got a virtual safety car, but luckily for Jabor, he's not missing a wheel right now because that one was nearly very poor indeed for Jabor, and he has lost 6 positions, but at least that car is still a drivable machine for the time being. And that's a shame as well for Cam Tizzle because he was well on his way to being able to overtake that Aston Martin, and now it's just not going to happen as we get a couple of takers for the pit lane. It appears actually both V-carbs on the way in. It's going to be a front wing change for Merck. King Pro Player's a little bit further behind. He'll get caught up in the double stack here, as the Haas of Jabor on the way in as well. On the way, it's going to be medium tires coming up here for King Pro. Merck has gone to the hards. Jabor has gone to the mediums. King Pro as well to the medium tires, as Agnote has got a drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car, and so is Osmanian Devil for that matter as well. That's very unfortunate for those two, as that is going to put such a hamper on their race. Exiting Degner 2, as that was a little odd. That, whatever reason, the game could have swore that. Okay, well, I have to dreadfully apologize for you right now. The game is not registering that. People are not banging the rev limiter at every given second. So it sounds like I'll have to avoid that camera. Just that doesn't sound very good. 2.5 tenths of a second. Cam Tizzle to the back end of Charlie Golf. Probably get the opportunity this time down the pit straight. Remember the last time by, had the virtual safety car, did not allow him the opportunity. What I will say is this. Johnny Damon's actually lost about 3/10 under the VSC. Because Charlie Golf was about 2 seconds behind on the previous go-through. Cam Tizzle, DRS activated. Look at the pace he's pulling, and Cam Tizzle to the inside. And that one to the lead relatively easily. Nicely done for Cam Tizzle up to the 2nd spot. John the Prince now may look to have an opportunity to curveball for the 5th position. Serzol on the back end of this battle as well, making their way through the S curves as the grid's starting to spread out a little bit, especially past the top 10. As Osmanian Devil and Agnote taking their drive-through penalties now. That'll open up a 20-second gap from the top 10 on back. Charlie Golf still 0.6 of a second behind Cam Tizzle. But for what it's worth, at least in Cam Tizzle's perspective here, at least the Haas of Johnny Damon is within eye shot now. That's got to be such a good thing to be able to see, especially considering you're both on even compounded tires. You don't need to worry about realistically what the other guy's doing. You just got to put down some good laps, and there you go. John the Prince to the back end of curveball. He'll have DRS going down the pit straight. I think realistically DRS could be had here. It's got to be... I don't think you could realistically take it through 130R. To the inside, John the Prince goes, and it looks like he's going to have that one. Yes, he does it. He has it cleanly even before they get to 130R. Nicely done by John the Prince. All wanted the outside. Oh, look at this. The Ferrari's going to miss the braking zone. He's going to take the McLaren with him. Oh, and that one wasn't good. Not at all. And now Serzol to the inside. By the way, he's going to have DRS, and he will be able to drive cleanly around the McLaren. He took the passive route through that one, and he came out all right. And his teammate of Fragley's on the back end of Charlie Golf. Charlie looks to have either made a mistake on that previous lap, or Cam Tizzle is just genuinely pulling ahead. because he's now got the Sauber for company behind us. We've got a yellow flag. It's unfortunately Asian Kid who's gone around exiting turn 2. He's ditched a bit of the front wing to the inside, and that's slightly unfortunate. Oh yeah, a lot of the front wing. That's going to be one hell of a task to drive around the circuit. To be able to get that car back around and get into the pit lane, not going to be fun. As we get a yellow flag, Sepulveda's gone into the gravel, exiting the final corner. Similar to how Logan Sargent did that back in 2020, whatever the hell it was. Johnny Damon has just sent me a ping. Let's see what he says. Johnny Damon doing the Lord's work, checking up on me, trying to see if I got back into the lobby. I am, in fact, back in the lobby. Thank you very much, Johnny Damon. You did not need to ruin your lead here on behalf of texting the Discord to get me back in. I appreciate that, though. But that's quite all right. Down the pit straight goes Johnny Damon. Fragley's actually been able to get round Charlie Gulf, that one relatively with ease. That Aston Martin is either not happy on those hard tires or that car is not handling very well because he is losing time. Bit unfortunate to see, really. Let's have another quick look at what our tire strategies are looking like now. Albeit we've had a couple of pit stops, including now Asian Kid for the front wing change as well. Top 6 cars on medium tires. As we have another yellow flag now. I believe that's Hemphead off of Dunlop. Yes, it is. That car has gone around somewhere. Oh, and even that car's now shed a bit of the front wing. That's so unfortunate there for Hemphead, because again, Yep, and well, that is now firmly on the circuit now, that piece of front wing. I hope that dissipates by the time we get Merc going around there. That is firmly on the racing line. I hope he doesn't run that over and get himself a puncture. Let's see. And it appears, thankfully, that piece of front wing is missing. That was almost bad. So we have another yellow flag now. That is the Ferrari of Hemphead. He has firmly lost the entirety of the front wing now, as if he didn't before. Oh, and into the tire barriers, and that's going to do it for Hemphead. Yeah. Never like to see when a car retires on track, especially considering that it could throw out the safety car on behalf. It won't this time. But ideally, don't do that. Oh, Cam Tizzle really nearly had a lunge there on Johnny Damon on the way into the first corner. That one was almost quite the attempt there for sure. Cam Tizzle was well within range to try to do that sort of thing. Albeit a little bit gutsy, as Damon did not going to say didn't let him have the room, but Damon was definitely content with defending, and Cam Tizzle really wanted to go for that gap, so that one was definitely close. He's exiting the second Degner up the hill. Into the hairpin now. Half a second between the top two. And for what it's worth, I don't believe that they're going to face any challenge from the cars behind. At least for the time being. As the grid slightly spread out now, I believe we are going to be getting to tire changes not too far down the road. As Cam Tizzle now might be able to have a look into 130R. Well, not quite. Tell you what, Johnny Damon really having to push the pace of that Haas for the time being. And that's actually what it's done. It's actually allowed Fragley back into the mix here. And Charlie Gulf, that car that we were talking about, was a risk taking the hards. Well, here you go. The early safety car hasn't come back out. Cam Tizzle to the inside. Damon's had to go wide going through turns 1 and 2. I don't believe contact was made between them. I think Cam Tizzle's got that spot very clearly. I don't believe any sort of contact at all was made between them. It certainly didn't look like it. I think it is genuinely now all game on between even the top 4 as Gulf is trying to join the fray. Top 3 ahead. Exiting Degner 2, heading towards the hairpin. I don't think any moves will be made here, unless potentially Fragley will have a look at the Haas ahead. Back on the throttle. I tell you what, that Sauber got away well. Into the wall is Damon. Oh, and that car, a little bit too greedy on the throttle, it looked, at least from my angle. And that is a Haas firmly in the wall. The front wing is off the car. Safety car looks like it will remain in the pit lane. What an unfortunate circumstance there for Johnny Damon. I apologize, there's a setting I'd like to change really quick. Perhaps is that hasn't relieved our errors whatsoever. I don't know what I was expecting that to do. King Pro Player and that of Merck, both of the V-carbs, have undergone a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car as Johnny Damon into the pit lane for him. This has not been a good one. Tell you what, and we talk about how mistakes can snowball. That's almost exactly what's happened. Not even that he really made mistakes, but, you know, that car started to get under pressure for the first time, and eventually one little slip-up happened, and it all goes tumbling down for Johnny Damon. But what I will say is this: safety car is still potentially possible at any given point in this race. So, I don't want to say... Never say never. That's all I'm going to say to that. As it appears, Merck is serving his drive-through penalty now, as well as King Pro Player. Jabor looks to have gotten around Osmanian Devil. Going into the first corner is now, unfortunately, Osmanian Devil appears to have picked up a 3-second penalty for having gone wide exiting turn 2. Once again, I apologize for the audio glitches that you are hearing. In this camera, it's perfectly fine. As we go on board, it doesn't matter what gear they're in, that car is absolutely pinging the rev limiter and not exactly giving us the best sound that we have, so I do apologize for that. But going through 130R now, Cam Tizzle. I tell you what, I don't know necessarily. Oh, he's gone well deep into the chicane there. Fragley's going to have a chance. Looking to the inside, Cam Tizzle went well deep into the braking zone, side by side. Oh, look at this. Charlie Golf wanted it. Oh, he got a little squirrely there. Charlie Golf following in behind the Sauber. Potentially, can he find a way around? The answer's going to be no, but he's at least got the second spot. And when it rains, it pours. Cam Tizzle falls to third. It all started, he went deep into the braking zone, into the chicane, allowed Fragley into the mix, and as I was going to say, I don't know the true head-to-head pace of Fragley versus Cam Tizzle, but what we do know now is that you could definitely argue, and I think make the correct argument, that Charlie Golf is on the best tires out of those involved. It's actually even allowed Sir Zol. Oh, and that's the Williams of Cam Tizzle. He's gone off again. And I don't know how that one happened. I don't know if did he have help from behind there. I'm not entirely sure. That's not usually a braking zone that people get wrong. Just on account of being skill. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there with Cam Tizzle, but that car was well deep into the gravel outside the hairpin. He's gotten it back going. He's not missing any front wing. I don't know, a little weird. What I was going to say is that has kind of allowed the entirety of the top 5 kind of within respectable distance of this battle. Half a second between the top 2. Sir Zol's a little bit further behind. And I think, well, I don't want to point fingers, but potentially is Sir Zol the culprit in that one, as it looks as if somebody went off there not too long ago. Oh, yeah, look at that. Osmanian Devil's missing a bit of the front wing. We had a yellow flag temporarily over by the hairpin. I'm thinking Osmanian Devil may or may not have hit something in that timestamp. Making their way up through the S's now. Charlie Golf, 4/10 of a second back to Fragley. And as they make their way up through the Dunlop curve, Fragley doing well. I tell you what, it's got some good pace on that Sauber for the time being. Charlie Golf still, I would say, very much in a competitive way. Sir Zol is kind of on the outside looking into this battle. I think being on those medium tires is going to be a little bit more difficult. As, again, Charlie Golf, I would say arguably... bit of a lock up there. Say arguably this late into the run. I'd say those hards are probably the best we've got going, as Osmanian Devil has retired in the pit lane. As, Anyote's hit the wall out of the way in as well. He's missing some front wing. That's not ideal for him whatsoever. Not entirely sure. It's unfortunate there for Osmanian Devil. Not sure why he's decided to call it quits here, but we have now lost 2 of the 16 that have started the sessions. A front wing change. No, it actually isn't for Anyote there. Yeah, I don't know. Only a couple of tenths now between the top 2, as Charlie Golf within striking distance definitely of the Sauber of the top spot of Fragley as they make their way through the chicane, back on the throttle, down the pit straight they go. Serzal is still kind of on the outside looking in, but I would assume we're going to get some tag team action going here between the 2 Saubers versus the Aston, as Fragley is going to defend rather the inside there. Didn't allow Charlie Golf to go the long way around, but Charlie Golf is going to swap him back to that right side. Yeah, he's not quite going to get the opportunity that time round, but I tell you what, with how much pace Charlie Golf is showing for the time being, Fragley is definitely on the ropes here. He's not knocked down, and it's not a standing 8 count quite yet, but I would expect a knockdown any second here. Cam Tizzle, despite being knocked out of position, still holds on to the 4th spot. He may have to defend from Sean the Prince coming up in a little bit. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, as Serzal kind of watches this one from the back. Another look again at the positions gained and lost. Serzal is up 7 positions. Fragley up 4. Charlie Golf +1. John the Prince +2 according to the game, potentially. Yeah, I apologize for that. Anyway. 1 second separating the top 3. Oh, yeah. The alcohol is out, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a even better cast than it already was. It's nothing special. Listen, let me tell you something. I've been doing my best to avoid the hard alcohol. Spragley's on his way into the pit lane. Sun Cruisers and Angry Orchards only for me. Always drink responsibly. Don't spill it. On the way into the pit lane, both Cam Tizzle and Fragley. Hard tires on for... There goes the rest of the can. Hard tires for both of them. Figure that was slightly expected. As Charlie Golf still maintains the top spot. He's got 0.8 of a second back to Serzal. Johnny Damon to 1:31.581. That's the new fastest lap of the session. As we do have kind of a close one here exiting the pit lane between Fragley, Cam Tizzle, and Johnny Damon. Damon trying to get himself back to the island of relevancy here after his incident, which brought out the earlier virtual safety car. And let me tell you something, that car's looking pretty good for the time being. He's on those 4-lap-old hards. But for what it's worth, the 2 cars ahead of him, those tires are not going to be up to temperature quite yet. Oh, Damon into the grass! And thankfully, he's held on to that one. Only just. That one was almost well out of shape. Yeah, that one got a little bit sketchy there, I'll admit, for Johnny Damon. That car was 2 tires into the grass outside of Dunlop. 9 times out of 10, that does not end well. And thankfully for Johnny Damon's case, he found the 10th time. So it's all within half a second of Charlie Golf, 130R into the chicane now. Still, both of these cars have yet to stop. Remember, Charlie Golf started on the hards, so he won't have to for, I think, at least another 5 laps. Oh, well, I guess I'm wrong. Look at that. Charlie Golf into the pit lane. Serzal, locks it up, but manages to get under Delta. John the Prince will not. 10-second penalty for John the Prince for speeding to the pit lane there. Locked the brakes going on his way in. Just could not get that car back down in time. Charlie Golf, what was that? Charlie Golf onto the mediums, as expected. Serzal onto the hards, as expected. John the Prince, I believe, are those hards? Kind of look like hards. Yeah, I'm gonna say they are. Yep. Hard tires as well for John the Prince. We got a good battle going on here. Let me tell you something. These guys exiting the pit lane right now, Johnny Damon, John the Prince, have definitely just got themselves kind of in the midst of a great battle going on here for the 3rd spot. Fragley leads Cam Tizzle 0.4 of a second. Cam Tizzle leads Serzal 0.4 of a second. Johnny Damon's a little bit on the outside for the time being, and this is unfortunately what I was worried about with Johnny Damon. He's putting together some good laps, but as soon as those in the hard tires ahead of him got those tires up to temperature, I was afraid they were going to start to pull away, and of course Johnny Damon had the mistake not too long ago. But we are over halfway done with this Grand Prix. It's been a very fun one so far. Not one safety car yet. We've had 2 virtual safety car for the time being. Knock on wood somewhere along the line, but tell you what, it has been a fun one. Going at the moment. Charlie Golf making his way through the spoon curve for the time being. Has a 10-second disadvantage back to Curveball. Curveball as well, remember, did start this race on the hard tires. He will probably be dropping back to the 7th position, but he'll be in a good battle there once he does decide to stop. So he is actually the last remaining car on track who hasn't yet. Got a 10-second penalty for John the Prince for speeding to the pit lane. We got a 3-second penalty for Anyote for what must be track limits. DRS activated for the Sauber, activated for the Williams as well, and the other Sauber, not the Haas. It's unfortunate here, Johnny Damon couldn't hold on to the back end of Serzal. John the Prince couldn't get within pace on Johnny Damon. We were kind of in the midst of having like a 5-car battle there for position. It's started to get itself back to normal. What I will say this, not too long ago we were talking about Charlie Golf having a 10-second disadvantage to Curveball. He's since 3 sentences later has taken 2 seconds off of that time. He's putting purple sector 2 for Charlie Golf. He's going for it here. He's not taking any prisoners. He is on his way, fighting and clawing for every 1/10 of a second he can possibly get. And by the way, since he's done that, he's already put about 5/10 of a second extra back to Fragley. And as well, Fragley on those hard tires as well, the majority of the grid now on the hards, and we can definitely expect, I think, I'm not going to say it's a safe bet by any means, but if this race stays green to the end, Charlie Golf, I would say, is going to be the favorite. As again, an additional second taken off this lap alone. Insane times from Charlie Golf. The question is now, when does Curveball decide to stop? Will it be this time by? The answer appears to be yes. I still think he's going to drop probably about to that 7th position, but that will give Curveball the lead. Fragley will be second. Third will be Tizzle, 4th Serzal, 5th Damon, 6th Prince, and 7th will be Curveball. As Curveball only finding his pit box now. Not a slow stop by any means, but that car didn't really find his pit box in time. As this grid kind of spread out for the time being, but for what it's worth here, Charlie Golf, I think this has got to be the time. I think the only hope now, realistically, is if a safety car happens and this grid gets bunched up, because Charlie Golf is putting down some of the laps of his life right now. As we've got Jabor on the way into the pit lane. King Pro players got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Here is a look at positions gained and lost for the time being. Golf up 2, Fragley up 3, Tizzle up 1, Serzal up 6. In a battle with Anyote for driver of the day. I believe by that it would go to the Sauber. Damon down 4 after the mistakes he's had. Curveball down 5 after a very poor start to the race and just couldn't quite get himself back up to gears necessarily. It's not been a good day for Curveball, who I was fully expecting to be able to challenge Johnny Damon for the lead in that first corner, and it never really happened. I think Cam Tizzle is going to be just shy of DRS range to the Sauber here, but Cam Tizzle definitely quick. And again, I'm not too sure the head-to-head pace between these two. I would say they're right on even as they've been all day long. King Pro player actually might be looking to make an overtake on Anyote here. Oh, up through Dunlop. Okay, that's not what I expected. But King Pro player to the 13th spot. Something's either wrong with Anyote. I don't really know what the deal is with that. As Asian Kid's missing a lot of front wing there. I was wondering why Jabor had gotten around him so easily. The Aston Martin, unfortunately, has shed a lot of carbon fiber somewhere along the line. Cam Tizzle has now gotten himself within DRS range of Fragley. I don't know whether that is the pace of Cam Tizzle or the mistakes by the Sauber, as I believe. Beginning of last lap, that gap was only about 1.7 from Gulf back to the Sauber of Fragley, and now it's about 2.4, so something has happened along the line between those two, and that's going to allow Cam Tizzle into the mix for the second spot. We got 10 laps to go at the line this time by, and so far, I think, again, the safe bet has to be that Charlie Golf walks away with this one. There's no guarantees. There's never a guarantee in motor racing. But what I can tell you is this. I think this is definitely going to be a close one when we get to the end of it. DRS will be activated for Cam Tizzle this time by making their way out of the final corner down the pit straight. Cam Tizzle, I don't think, had a good go through the chicane that time. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he didn't lose any time, but he didn't gain time either. Very stagnant. And he's not going to have the opportunity to overtake the Sauber this time unless he really works him. For what it's worth as well, I think Charlie Golf may have had a mistake somewhere along the line, because he's now lost, what, 0.6 of a second? Remember I was saying not too long ago how Fragley last lap had lost a lot of time and we didn't really know where. Charlie Golf had immediately lost that and is, well, now for what it's worth, he's gained it right back again. 3 corners ago, that gap was 1.8. It's now back up to 2.3. So Golf, I would say, has a stranglehold on sectors 2 and 3. And Sector 1 looks to maybe be not necessarily problematic for Charlie Golf, but maybe that's the weak point of his lap for the time being, somewhere in there. Cam Tizzle, 0.7 of a second as they make their way towards the spoon curve. Let's see what happens here. There's like a shit ton of bugs entering my room at the time being. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but we got swarming fellas all over the place. 0.6 of a second between the two. Making their way down the back straight, moving fast. I don't know the rest of the words to that song to actually make the joke, but that's okay. 0.7 of a second. See, this is the last time we went by, Cam Tizzle made a mistake somewhere along the line through this chicane. And again, he's not really that close to the back end of the Sauber. I don't know if the Saubers have taken that third sector better somewhere. Or Cam Tizzle, yeah, I don't really know, because they were much closer last time by. At least 0.2 of a second. And pretty much everywhere else in the lap, Cam Tizzle looked like he not necessarily had him beat, but was at least able to stay kind of competitive. And Cam Tizzle appears to have lost some time. What I will say is this, I'm starting to think. Now remember, when we were on the medium stint in the beginning of the race, that fall-off period for the medium tires was about 7 or 8 laps. That's when we really started to see Charlie Golf, who was actually on those hard tires, really get into play. For what it is now, Charlie Golf has improved another about 0.3 of a second this lap. But it has to be said, I don't think Charlie Golf is going to be able to hold on to this lead come the end of the race. He's going to have to hope for some sort of miraculous something or another happening behind him, or he's going to have to put down some great laps and hope that these medium tires can hold on, or for what it's worth, he could just conserve. I mean, it's difficult to conserve, right? As a driver, you want to be going flat out all the time you possibly can, but that's how the best drivers are able to do it. They're able to switch on that knowledge of, oh, I need to conserve versus, oh, it's time to push. And I think Charlie Golf is having to make that decision right about now, because even then, through that third sector, he lost a couple of tenths there. He's gotten it back. As now Cam Tizzle to the inside of Fragley. It's going to be a drag race down to that first corner, and Cam Tizzle's going to have that one easily. That overtake right there has been in the works for quite a while, and it's finally happened. Johnny Damon into the pit lane now. It's a bit of an odd one. Doesn't appear he needs a front wing change. It's going to be purely strategical and onto the soft tires for him. Not a lot of drivers actually knowingly use the soft tires today. We had 2 of which start on them. And that's really kind of been about it. That's not really much else has happened. Fragley, 0.8 of a second, back to Cam Tizzle. For what it's worth, I tell you what, we were talking about this not too long ago. Cam Tizzle is definitely starting to put the pace to Charlie Golf. He's taken off about 0.4 of a second to that gap that he had to the Aston Martin ahead. Either that or Charlie Golf might be starting to back off here. I'm not entirely sure, as we are within 10 laps to go now. Oh, okay, so I'm starting to notice the pattern here. I think what Charlie Golf is doing, going down the straights as quick as he can, not even necessarily using the energy store. We'll open the telemetry for you. 65% battery. I think maybe a little bit of lift and coast is happening. Let's see. Not really. That didn't really tell me that he was doing a lot of lift and coast. I don't know. Maybe that car is just built more for the straight line. Because again, I mean, we're entering the straight now, 1.6 the gap as he gets on the throttle. And, of course, no DRS to the car behind. Yeah, hasn't really gained as much time there. I tell you what, I think it might just be the tires starting to come into play. I think Charlie Golf might be starting to see that the medium tires are falling off, and, you know, that was something that we were kind of wary of going to be happening. You know, we give or take a good 7 or 8 laps for those medium tires to really be at their peak. And now, I mean, we're coming to the point where we only got 7 laps to go here. 6.5 at this point, realistically, but I tell you what, this is going to be an absolute dogfight at the end, and I'm hoping for what it's worth that Charlie Golf can actually keep this one. Oh, that's a Red Bull off. That's Agnote. Agnote has gone off at the hairpin, and not only that, he has gotten in the way of the lead cars ahead of him. I don't know if Agnote, if that was an accident or he just took to the inside of the circuit on his own. What I can tell you is this: Charlie Golf has lost about 0.3 of a second because of it. Oh, I don't really know. That's a difficult thing to be able to see there. Agnote, that car went off at the hairpin. From what it looked like, it was ceding position to the lead cars. Either way, I think Charlie Golf has had a reaction to it and had temporarily lost a couple of tenths of a second. He's gotten it back, as I think the real battle now is going to be between Fragley and Cam Tizzle. This is what I'm interested in doing here, right? If I'm Fragley at this point, if I'm Cam Tizzle at this point in time, he's definitely gaining to Charlie Golf. But if Fragley goes and takes you back and gets that spot, you're going to have to wait. I think realistically, if you're Cam Tizzle and Fragley gets you with DRS, wait another lap. Wait a lap before you make that move. See if Fragley is closing in to that Aston Martin ahead. If he's not, then you got to attack. But for right now, it's so difficult to say because Cam Tizzle, in parts of the track, are taking off time to Charlie Golf. Other parts, Charlie Golf is still pulling him, and I think that Aston really right now is set up for the straight line. I don't know about anywhere else on the circuit, because even then, getting on acceleration out of the Degners, he's done so well. Into the braking zone at 1.8. Back on the throttle. Oh, he has gained a little bit there. I tell you what, maybe I'm wrong. Because Cam Tizzle, either that or Cam Tizzle did lose some time there. I'm not too sure. And here he goes again. He's now back down a couple of tenths. Yeah, I don't know what... It's kind of... It's either conservation here from Charlie Golf. I really don't know, to tell you the truth. 0.8 of a second. At the line this time will be 5 laps to go. Here for the Japanese Grand Prix. What a race that it has been here. And I tell you what, for what it's worth, I don't think this one is over yet by any means. Just a reminder, coming up next, our next fixture that we have in store for you. July 23rd from the Miami International Autodrome in, I'd say beautiful Miami, Florida. It's really hot and humid. To the inside, Fragley. Oh, look at this! This is a hell of a battle now. Fragley saw the door wide open, and he allowed himself in, but Cam Tizzle will shut the door right back in his face. Fragley was hoping to sit down and have a cup of tea with Cam Tizzle with how wide Cam Tizzle left the door open. And Cam Tizzle has properly booted him off the porch. And all the while, Charlie Golf has gotten a lead back up to 1.7. Again, I think it's going to be the downfall here between these couple of cars, because we're going to see Cam Tizzle and Fragley battle it out to the end of the Grand Prix, and then that is really going to be a detriment to them in the opportunity for what they have to be able to get up to the lead and actually be able to make something happen. Because again, Charlie Golf's tires are not going to be the best. Not in comparison to the hard tires around them. 9-lap-old medium tires are not going to be as good as the 10-lap-old hards. It's just not going to be the case. So, for what it's worth, oh, that's such a difficult question there, realistically. 1.6 the gap. Tell you what, Charlie Golf is really good at edging us right about now, and I mean that in not a weird way, because what I'm saying is this. He keeps losing time and then gains it right back again. Like legitimately. He starts this straight at a 1.6. He was as low as a 1.3 heading into the spoon curve last time by. And again, he's gotten 0.3 of a second right back again like it was nobody's business. Fragley actually did not have DRS down the straight that time. As far as I could tell. 0.6 of a second still the gap as we are getting ever so closer to the end of this Grand Prix. These are the 3 most competitive cars, at least together on track for the time being. Unfortunately, the majority of the grid has kind of spread themselves out here. Serzal is 4.5 seconds down the road. John the Prince is 6 seconds down the road. He's got a 10-second penalty as well. Thankfully for him, I don't believe he'll drop any further than 7th position. As Fragley's actually gone into the gravel, and he is not happy about something. That car is very slow at the time being. He is... What is going on here? Oh, you gotta be dicking me. Oh, don't do this nonsense to me. Why? Okay, well, we gotta wait for the game to do its thing, and then I can rejoin the invite. As much as I think this game is really fun, and driving-wise, it's the best F1 game in years, this has been a total dumpster fire as far as joining and rejoining lobbies. Because I had that the other night in Midwest F1 last week. Left and joined a couple and the stream doesn't look bad, does it? You know, it doesn't look glitchy by any means. I'm only running 720p 60 frames per second. It shouldn't be that much of a toll on my internet. I'm running like 1.5 gigs, 2 gigs per second download anyway. Upload I'm not sure about, but either way. Get ourselves back into the session here. Hopefully we haven't missed all that much. From what it did look like, that Sauber had gone wide exiting Degner 2. And initially it kind of looked as if he had not necessarily lost his opportunity. But kind of looked as if he was beginning to look on the outside looking in, and then the game unfortunately did kick us. We got 2 laps to go here. Sorry, 2.5. So yeah, that's almost exactly what's happened. Fragley has lost a good chunk of time back to Cam Tizzle after exiting Degner 2. Cam Tizzle now has 1.2 to the back end of Charlie Golf. 1.3 is the gap. Again, Charlie Golf on the medium tires. 2 laps to go at the line this time by. I think if Cam Tizzle can really put down another good lap, or if Charlie Golf makes some sort of mistake. We just saw the lockup from the Aston there going into the chicane. This is going to be a close one. No DRS active for the time being. Cam Tizzle, however, for the first time since the pit window, is now within a second of Charlie Golf. Those tires, medium tires on the Aston, are surely waning away. And he's now off to the point now where I think if he can get within DRS range, I think realistically for Cam Tizzle, he's got to get within 0.7 of a second. Nothing less will do. 0.7 of a second and a good run out of the chicane on this next time by. And that is, I think, the only way, save for a miracle, he could find a way around Charlie Golf. Because realistically, if you're not within 0.2 of a second of a car, you're not going to be able to make the overtake. Cam Tizzle will have to work, but save up some battery. We'll open the telemetry now. Only 30%. That's alarming. 50% for Charlie Golf. He is harvesting as much as he can. 60% now. Finally gets the battery back going, and Cam Tizzle will use it as well. Maybe that's what we were missing for Charlie Golf, was trying to conserve his energy store as much as he can. It's less than 0.4 of a second now. 1:30R for the penultimate time. Into the chicane now. This one's going to get close, ladies and gentlemen. Lock up for Charlie Golf into the chicane. Back on the throttle. Cam Tizzle is within 4.5 tenths, 5 tenths, with DRS now active. Battery being used. Foot to the floor. Cam Tizzle, can he find a move? Charlie Golf tried to defend. He'll choose the outside. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. They're still wheel to wheel. Oh, goodness me, how brilliant this is. Oh, and there's contact, and the Williams goes round. And as I look on my second monitor, oh, that's so difficult to say, because there was just the faintest of wiggle from Charlie Golf's Aston that put himself almost looking like in the way of Cam Tizzle. I don't believe he's done anything deliberately. Absolutely not, I would say. But that car had the slightest of wiggle into the turn-in phase through, what is that? The turn-in phase going into turn number 5. They were side by side, wheel to wheel so well. Oh, that's going to be difficult. Charlie Golf is going to cross the line first. We'll have to wait and see if a steward's report is on the way from Cam Tizzle. And even if there was, I'm not sure how that one would play out. Into the chicane for the final time. Charlie Golf, who I tell you what was looking like the comfortable favorite for a while, did have to battle. For the time being, will win the Japanese Grand Prix. Will stewards' reports say otherwise? That will have to look out for. But a double podium for the Saubers. That's fantastic. 7 positions gained for Serzal. Fragley up 3. He had a great day, that Fragley. Cam Tizzle crosses the line 4th. John the Prince, with his 10-second penalty, does drop to 7th. Curveball to 5th. Damon to 6th. Disappointing day for both Damon and Curveball. Those were our front row sitters. And, yeah, that's just really not gone well for the either of them. Such a shame there. Owa will come across the line in 8th eventually. 35.5 seconds a gap for Owa back to John the Prince. He'll cross the line 8th. Oh, it looks like a good battle here. Jabor and Sepulveda wheel to wheel. And Jabor will clash wheels with Sepulveda, and that's McLaren will have not necessarily gone round, but definitely lost a lot of traction. And Merck is the last one across the line. That one will do it, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie Golf crosses the line first. By definition, he is your winner. Whether or not Cam Tizzle puts together a report for that contact on the final lap, we'll have to wait and see. But for Hotspot, thank you for joining us. We'll have to see you next time out when we head to the Miami Autodrome in Miami, Florida for round number 3 of the CCRL Wednesday Tier Season 8. It's been a pleasure being in the commentary box for this one, and we'll see you next time.